Welcome, everybody, to What? Not Another Reselling Podcast here on Jack's Treasures. Our podcast focuses on the live portion of reselling. We don't edit, we go raw, and we try to bring you the truth about live selling. Our topic today is how List Easier, an AI program, is changing the game for online sellers.
Yes, and it is super excited today that we have our guest, Scott, the Bearded Picker. He's well known in the reselling community as a respected reseller, mostly on static listings, but he has had a few live shows under his belt. Today, we're going to chat with Scott about how List Easier is quickly becoming a game changer for static listings on eBay. We also have had the privilege of meeting Scott a couple of times now. We both Scott and I, so here you go right here. Both Scott and I are this year's Bearded Pickers champions. Scott won for the long beard contest and I won for the short beard contest. Scott wouldn't go around and go, no, we won. And I did. I'm a child. So we won that at the Northeast Tennessee meetup. Scott, I'm going to give you a brief opportunity to introduce yourself.
So Bearded Picker, been Bearded Picker, started YouTube in 15, started reselling full-time in 13, been on eBay since 2000. So I've been reselling a long time. Yeah. Switched to Amazon in 14 and did mainly Amazon through last year. And now I'm moving back towards eBay. I'm actually using List Easier. We'll talk about it as an experiment to build my third eBay store, completely AI. So it's going well. I can tell you about that. And then YouTube along the way, I had a crazy video in 18. It went 3 million views, and
my God,
that was an experience. That
Monopolies, is that the Monopoly video?
The Monopoly video gets me recognized everywhere because so many people come up and say, I was introduced to reselling so that video has been a blessing for me and others. So it's been very nice.
Well, I will let you know that probably I would say about maybe 25 to 30% of the people that we interview and we ask them how they got started on reselling, they almost always say, well, something happened and I started looking at YouTube. And your name has been mentioned a couple of times as, oh, yeah, Scott the Bearded Picker. I was watching him, Kevin, Harry Tornado, John Cincinnati Picker, even what was the one? Froggy Flips. Froggy Flips. Yeah. So it's really great to finally have you on the show. As always,
I will say I've actually watched Scott for years and years and years and years. I'm not one to talk in shows or comment in shows, but I have watched him on and off for years. Found you through Alabama Pickers. I was part of his Facebook group years and years ago, so that's how I was introduced to Scott.
And also everything that we're doing with Whatnot, with doing even this channel right here, Jack's Treasures channel. This podcast anyway, believe it or not, is all Scott's fault. Okay. All of it. He has, yeah, exactly. Our YouTube, our going to meetups, all of this is Scott's fault because Tracy found out about the Nashville meetup listening to your channel.
That is very true.
And
the Nashville meetup.
The funny thing is Tracy has tried to get me to watch videos for years. I mean, probably about 5 years. She got me to watch videos and I just refused. I was like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm smarter than all of these other guys, which I'm not, obviously. Okay. But it was just one of those things where I looked at it as I was the island and everything was competition. But when we went to that meetup, and that meetup was horrible. People have heard the story.
Horrible for him.
Yeah. Well, it was,
it was a great meetup.
Yeah, it was horrible for me.
I enjoyed it, by the
way. And it was everybody has heard the story about how within like 20 seconds of me meeting all of these people, I embarrassed the hell out of myself. And Scott was one of the main ones that was there that gave me a death stare like, bitch, I'm going to slap the shit out of you any minute now, right? Because I decided that I was going to just basically announce to everybody to be quiet. I was trying to have a conversation and everybody was there to see me. Well, that didn't go over too well. But Scott has been very gracious and actually has said hello to us a couple of times at meetups. So he has. I'm hoping he has forgiven me for that big gaffe. Again, I did have surgery on my neck, so I was a little bit whacked
You were
out.
just a little bit different than your normal self, though. That's all. Just a little bit.
I definitely was.
But thank you so much for coming. Our first question is, how did you develop the idea or get started as a YouTuber and YouTube influencer, in fact?
So it was a live show. I used to be every morning. I watched it. Paul, can't remember his name. People in the audience might know his name, but in 15, he would just have, he's like, anybody wants to come on, come on. And so one morning I decided, oh, what the hell? I know as much about reselling as these guys do. And Dusty was on there, but Big John was on there. And, little I know these are going to be really good friends for quite a while. Dusty's passed. It's been 4 years now, which is really scary.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Time really flies. But, and just turned the camera on and then started watching. I'm like, well, I noticed, okay, well, I'm different to begin with, but I travel all over everywhere. So I'm like, I'm just going to take people with me wherever I go. So a lot of my early videos are of me going through I went to 41 states looking for Amazon stuff. And
wow.
So just the stuff that I've seen and the places I've been, this is a beautiful country we live in. We're very blessed and different people all over. So, I had a good time doing that. Then it slowly switched. Dusty decided, hey, let's do a morning show every day. And that was hard, really hard. And so he took it a couple days a week and then he just like, I'm quitting. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to keep going. And I've been doing the Wednesday show now, I think since early 18, just every Wednesday. I took 3 months off, but other than that, and making the videos, you quickly find out that, you're alone in this business. If I wanted to, I could sit in this 2-car garage, for those you don't know, I'll build this building behind the house and never speak to a soul, never know a soul. And you know what I mean? Be very isolating, very lonely. And I'm an introvert and it wouldn't bother me any, but I've been very blessed with the associations I've made. I've got a lot of good friends from YouTube, just from meeting people. So that's why I keep doing it, just because of the social aspect. The channel is just kind of what it is, because I made the decision a long time ago. I'm a reseller. I'm not a YouTuber. A lot of people try to go the other way.
Right.
I bet being an introvert, really, I don't like the public pressure to have to make videos and all that stuff. I just want to make what I want to do.
Right. I will say that there will be links down to Scott's videos. Scott, are those early shows with you and Dusty still up on YouTube?
Not very many of them, because most of them are gone. Because if you remember back at that time, 2020, a lot of people try to forget some of the nastiness when they passed away.
I know all this. He doesn't really know the whole background there.
When they passed away, they were anti-vaxxers like I was, and so they got COVID on an airplane when they came back from Dallas, and she had health issues. She had cancer when she was a child, Tristan, and so her and my wife are very good friends, and a lot of similar health issues, and so she took 2 medicines a lot of times that she wasn't supposed to take. It reduced your respiratory function. Well, if you do reduce your respiratory function fighting COVID, she passed away in her sleep. Dusty woke up, was real sick with the same thing, and he went in the hospital and then never came out. So it was just a mess, and the internet came for them. I mean, you can Google Dusty and Tristan Graham, and there's still hateful stuff. And so I'm like, all my lives, I deleted everything that was there. I left the videos up so you can see us. We did several videos together, buying the storage lockers and other stuff. Those are still up, but I should have saved them, but I just, at the time.
No, I completely understand. I just want people to know that there will be links down there below to Scott's thing, so you can check out all of this, which is something that I started to do because of the meetup. And what
he goes in and watches a lot of old videos. I
watch a lot, and I binge watch. I try to watch from the beginning because I love to see the development of how these things happen and how they change and pick up on little nuances and say, okay, well, maybe we could do these. It's the same thing with our Whatnot shows. Every single one of our Whatnot shows, I try to do the same thing. I look back and I say, well, what worked, what didn't work? And I'll look at other people's shows, and I'll go in other people's shows. And I said, oh, I love that idea. I think that's great. How can I incorporate it into mine?
I don't think you have enough energy. You don't have enough energy because you'd be a little more excited in your shows.
I don't know. I think the show yesterday, I think I overdid myself, and even people were saying, like, man, what did you give that man?
He went into a 1-hour train show, treating it like a 5-minute train show, and he
so
full blast.
But you know, and you know this, crazy. That okay. Live selling is different from static selling. On live selling, you are the one that is selling that product. A lot of times a product will sell itself, okay, like a jelly cat or something of that nature that people know are going to have that value. But we only have so many jelly cats, and we got plenty of cats though. We got plenty of cats, but we only have so many of those things. So the more energy that I can exude in that show, the more energy the chat is going to react back to me. And then I get more of those bids start coming in and those items start coming in. I turned a 1-hour show into $220 worth of profit, of which.
And it was all plush.
So if I'm doing something like that, I have got to do something to create that connection that are going to make people want to do that.
So it finally happened. Did you meet the couple in Nashville that's from here in Huntsville? He works at the Arsenal, and I forget what
Rocket City Resellers.
Rocket City Resellers. I finally went into my thrift store about 2 weeks ago, and she's like, I climb in these bins, and I come around the corner, and there's all you can see is somebody's legs and butt hanging out of the bin.
That sounds like Amanda.
And Amanda's throwing stuff out. And he's trying to catch them. Baskets overflowing. I'm like, oh my Lord! It was just. He looks at me. He goes, turn the camera on. You're missing great content."
we actually went sourcing with her once. We went to Nashville and told her that we were going to be up there, and she's like, "Well, I'm going to go." So she meets us at the bins. That girl has like 3 carts full in the time the two of us maybe filled a quarter of a cart.
Along with the fact that everybody at the bins knew exactly who she was.
Right. No. So, very outgoing. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Agreed.
She told me 2 years in a row, you're going to run into me one day. I'm like, I've been waiting. I've been waiting. All of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think, okay. Ken SSK promo, one of his very first videos that I've ever watched. He wasn't even on camera. I don't know what he was doing, but he was at a Goodwill, and he asked the question. He goes, "How many people do you think in that Goodwill are resellers just like you?" And I never thought of that ever before I started getting involved in the community. And now it seems like everywhere we go, we will run into a reseller. Mm-hmm. And we just did the Whatnot meetup in Atlanta. And so many people came up to Tracy and I and were like, "You're Jack's Treasures. You're Jack's Treasures." And I'm like, "Oh, shit. Do I owe you money?" Or, and stuff. It really was a humbling thing.
It's very different. You're used to. I get recognized a lot at 2 yard sales this weekend. So we're going through a neighborhood, and Johnny's like, "They didn't have that much. What in the world took you so long?" And I'm like, he watches the channel and he had a bunch of questions, and I'm like, I tell people, if you see me out live, I don't know who you are, but you know me. Say hello. If you got questions, I'll answer, because it's very easy to be more. You can give out more information to one person than you can on a channel. You can. And so I talked to him for a few minutes. Really, really nice guy. Him and his wife. Explained to him List Easier and how different it was, which I'm sure we'll get to that in a few minutes. But
oh gosh,
we haven't even started our questions.
Yeah, for an introvert like me, dude, I've been in the middle of nowhere. Like it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning when Walmart used to stay open. This is how long I've been doing this. For those of you who don't know, Walmart used to stay open all night.
Oh yeah,
and
that was nice.
Oh, that was the best sourcing because you'd be the only one in there, and the hardest thing to do was try to check out because you gotta go find a cashier. But I'm walking through, and I think I'm in Ocean City, Maryland. I'm somewhere up there somewhere, and I stopped to look at something, and I come around the corner and somebody recognizes me at 4 a.m. in a Walmart.
Oh my God. Wow.
I'm
I
like-
will definitely say that Scott is somebody who is up very, very late. I got a text at 2:40 this morning from Scott saying, nope, I didn't send the link. I sent the link to the podcast to a different phone number completely. And I was like,
someone might show up here.
Yeah, so someone might pop into the room. If he does, we'll ask him on there. All right, well, let's get started with our question and answers before Scott has to go, because he does have a very much busier schedule than we do.
Yeah,
this is the real
I've done all my
Q&A.
shit. You've got plenty of time. I've done all my shipping, so you're good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
This is the Real Talk Q&A where we ask the tough questions.
Oh yeah, the tough questions
to our guests and hopefully gain some knowledge. Our first question: how did you get started reselling? We ask everybody this.
Yes.
So my grandparents, I've gone to yard sales my entire life. I cannot remember a time in my 56 years that I haven't been to yard sale. I can remember as a kid, my mother, my grandparents, until we closed their booth at the flea market, they were 83 so a long time through their life. I remember as a kid, they would flip furniture, back in the 70s, refinishing furniture, all that was the rage. And so they did all that. And I was running fast food restaurants 25 years and decided after I'd switched jobs every 5 years, I'm like, I'll help. Maybe it's me. The thought crosses your mind. Maybe it's not the restaurant, and I don't need a change of restaurant. Maybe it's me.
Right.
And so I went and sold cars for 3 months. If you want to get some motivation to do something else, go sell cars. That is, like, for an introvert, that's the worst experience of my life.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I literally wasn't going to say it, but I know it's kind of been saying that he was an introvert, and I'm like, oh my gosh, selling cars is the wrong way to go.
But so whenever in the downtime, I would work on my eBay. I'd work on eBay, and I tell there's an older black gentleman. Been selling cars forever. He was really good at it. He was the one that was mentoring, trying to help get me along. And I sold some cars. I wasn't, they didn't run me off. They were surprised when I left, but he's like, dude, what could you do if you did this 40 or 50 hours a week? That just started my mind ticking, And so that was early 2013. And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to try, because it can't be any worse. I can't be any more miserable. And so I just started like everybody else. I already had some stuff, and then I sold even more stuff around the house. And then, started hitting Goodwills. Back then, I started in clothes like everybody else. Clothes was easier back then. There weren't as much competition in 13 as there is now. And I was teaching a Sunday school class in 2014. And one of the guys in there goes, why are you just eBay? How come you don't sell on Amazon? This was before I was there early. It was before. And I looked at him. I'm like everybody does. What do you mean sell on Amazon? Amazon is Amazon. Everybody, I had the same opinion Amazon and everybody else is. Amazon's Amazon. And so we were going on vacation the next week, and to Alabama, as a matter of fact, where I'm at now, but ended up looking at FBA, and I bought stuff the whole time we're here. She's visiting with her family, and I'm doing retail arbitrage all throughout Hustle. We didn't live here, but and we took a whole car full of stuff home, and that got me on it doing FBA. And it, I'm like, I don't have to clean it. I'm like typical most guys. I'll pick up clothes and never see the stains. And I get home and Joni will go, I can't believe you didn't see that. Now I got to try to get it out. She became a professional at fixing my mistakes. But the idea of selling new stuff really, but it was just being tired. And man, I wish I'd have done it earlier. I wish I'd have had that thought to myself earlier, because man, the freedom to work for yourself and enjoy what you do it's truly amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And as a follow-up, what are your feelings about live selling?
And don't hold back. Don't hold back.
I actually like the live selling, because I'm used to talking to the camera. None of that bothered me. I like the live selling. I had no issues about it. I had no problems, working my way through, and we were starting to build up a following and whatnot. No problem with any of that. The problem I had is one of your next questions came along. I do another podcast. I do the Profit Playbook podcast with Josh, John, and Primo. And about 8 months ago, Josh goes, I'm working on something that's going to change reselling forever. I'm like, you're Canadian. You're full of crap. That's what I was thinking. I've told him this, so don't run and tell Josh. I've told Josh. Josh he's an outstanding individual. And
Actually, believe it or not, I'm part Canadian too.
oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, my grandparents were both born in Canada.
Explains a little bit.
That's a little bit, yeah.
So when that came out, and I started beta testing it for him after James did, and I'm like, the opportunity, I'm like, I'm at a fork in the road. I'm someone who will change and try. I'm not afraid to try things.
Right.
And I'm like, what I need to build. If I could build a business, I'm building a media business, by the way. So if I can build something that I can do when I'm in my 60s without having to, last night I was, I don't know if y'all showed this morning, but I was telling everybody, I was taking pictures of in the hotel. When you stay in a hotel, that waffle maker, that big old heavy thing.
Yeah.
I picked one up at a yard sale last weekend, brand new for $35. That's an $800 waffle maker.
Oh my God.
And so it falls off the counter, hits my ankle. I'm like,
oh, shit.
That's why I'm building this media business, is because I want to put things in poly mailers. I want things to show up at the house. I want to be able to go look at and stuff that's easier to handle, easier to deal with. So, and then now I have a way to do it. So I had a choice, and I'm like, I really want to take the chance to everything I know for the last 13 years full time and pour into a brand new store and see what happens. And so that was it was not Whatnot. I love Whatnot. My buddy Jenny's on there right now. Her and Odie, two real good friends, and they are just hammering it. You guys are doing great. I have so many friends that are doing well, but it was you can't do it all. I'm by myself most of the time. Johnny will help if I needed to. But the other thing, the opportunity was, if I build this, the kid is going to start helping me starting tomorrow or the next day, listing all these DVDs or CDs.
Right.
You see the yellow lid right there?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that's part of two pallets of CDs. I have 4,400 CDs sitting over there.
That is awesome.
Is that what the pallet bot that you bought? I was in your show. I wasn't in the show, but I did watch your entire live the other day, where you guys were talking about where this pallet was and you having to go pick it up with your truck, or you paid for them to come deliver it.
I paid for them but I had to leave early because I had to I didn't have a pallet jack. So I went and bought a pallet jack off Facebook Marketplace and got back. But yeah, there are 2 pallets of bulk CDs, 44. So I broke them down and put them in 12 of those black tubs.
Wow.
Because I couldn't get the pallets don't fit in the building as well. Where right there I can stack them up. So now that was the thought. I can, at every estate sale, what's the one thing they don't look at? Nobody looks at media. They're there trying to find hens on nests and fairy lamps and uranium glass, all the stuff, right?
Yeah. Candelabra is our new one.
even cameras are hard to find now. Some of the electronics that I love is getting very competitive, but still nobody looks at the CDs, DVDs. I mean, they just look at them and walk away from. And so, I challenged myself to figure out how to sell them and how to make money, no matter what the price point. So that's what I've been working through. And it wasn't a live selling because I applied for eBay and I've never heard from them.
We haven't either.
Us too.
But I still watch Whatnot a lot. I still buy a lot of stuff from there. It's just, it's just what do you do? I took a chance on what I think I know better.
It's amazing that he said all of that, because when he said, you can't really do both, we had done that same exact thing. We were all eBay all the way. When we started doing Whatnot, it was more or less of this is stuff we don't want to put up on eBay, so let's just run it on Whatnot. And that's how we got to our sales numbers as fast as we did, because we were literally selling stuff for $1 that was worth about $1 or $2 or whatever, just because we didn't want to waste our time with it up on eBay. So we built our eBay stores up to be absolutely super huge. We had Amazon going on at the same time and all of our static listings, but it was just one of those things where once we started taking off on YouTube or Whatnot, then we went all in on Whatnot. And now we're discovering that, yes, we can definitely do live selling. That it is definitely part of ours, because I do have that following. I actually built that following up very organically, and getting those sellers and those buyers, the buyers in there. But we knew that we couldn't sustain it as far as what we want to do also, because I am 60. So I'm at that point right now where literally when you were saying, I just want to buy something and stick it in a poly mailer or a poly envelope, small envelope, and throw it, get it into the mail, we're there now. And we were like, okay, I want to start doing that. So that's learning a lot of that stuff. So believe it or not, with Less Easier, 3 minutes before we went live on this one, I did 25 football cards that I have, like all of these football cards. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw them up. And it took me that long. So hopefully we are about to start talking about this easier now.
We both have separate eBay stores, and we're reconfiguring how things are going. Yeah. I've doubled my store numbers in the last, how long have we had this? About a week and a half.
Yeah.
Doubled my store numbers, mostly jewelry. And I had a bunch of 80s Happy Meal toys, all things that would have been so painstaking to do singly. But with the List Easier, they're up and they're selling.
Yeah. So if you're Tracy, if you're 60, what is your skin routine? And can we talk about that?
I'm not 60.
Can we talk about that?
I'm a little bit younger.
She's younger than I am. She's actually 15 years younger than me.
But you're the one who said we're 60, and I'm like, he's lying. He's lying. There ain't no we to that. He is 60.
I am.
Yes.
A lot of people don't believe it when I tell them that I'm 60.
I believe it.
But
I get the same look, but Joni is 55 because Joni looks nowhere near me.
God, no.
Joni usually gets 40. People usually think she's 40.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't have guessed you at 56 either.
So
I would have had you in your 40s.
So I want your audience to understand it was my choice. I've sold 2,100 items on Whatnot. It's not that I've got direct pay. I can go right back to doing it.
Right.
It's not that I didn't give it a full shot. It's just it was just a decision to, hey, and you can look right here. There's a full set of boxes. I've got 2,000 items listed on eBay in a store that's only 7 weeks old.
That is awesome.
I mean, and we're not trying to definitely dish Whatnot, and I don't think that you did either. It's one of those things where you got to do what's best for you as your business model goes, and definitely never be afraid of change.
Yeah, everything has the plus and the minus, and you just got to figure out, which one works for you, and not, like my buddy Odie, do there after crushing. And, they've sold 18,000 items now in a year and a half.
Wow.
He's got very few things on eBay. And I cheer that guy on. I'm like, it's awesome. I love watching you guys, Odie and Amy, because they're very good at it. And same thing with Jennifer, Jeannie down south.
She's amazing.
Absolutely amazing things they're doing on Whatnot. But I want everybody to understand. I try to tell people, the hardest thing you can ever do is try to do multiple platforms, because one always suffers. One is always going to be the main gig. One's going to take more attention, and you're not going to be great at either one. And so that was part of my understanding too, after all these years, of banging my head against the wall. I'm like, I just need to pick the one that I think it benefits me the most.
And that's what we're trying to do now. Is I'm trying to have, he's doing Whatnot and I'm doing eBay, and it's hard. I mean, I'm still going to help him run his shows, but I'm not spending time loading those shows. I'm not going to do the shipping unless he's just got a huge show or something. So trying to separate it, and it's a challenge, but I think that's probably on the overall going to be best for us to be able to build them both that way, because we're two people.
And one of the other things that Scott did mention is that he mentioned that he did Amazon, and so did we.
I still do merchant fulfill Amazon, because I treat that very similar to eBay. Basically, I just figure out which one is a better price, better sell through, and that's generally where it goes. It's, like the last 3 weeks, I've chased an item on Amazon that I've sold 400 of for $16,000. I mean, I'm out now, so I'm back to doing whatever.
Right.
But when that opportunity hits, I will, because Amazon, if you've never sold on Amazon, folks, I'm telling you, you can't understand the sales velocity.
Yes, exactly.
It's freaking insane.
Yeah.
It really is. And we did it for a long time, but with us, what happened with us is we started to get gated
in all of the
things that we were selling. Items. So I'm sitting there going, like, man,
So I'm being pushed back into eBay, which is fine. I don't care where I sell, but the same thing happened to me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and for me, at the end of the day, I would rather, I don't know, treasure hunt than sell post-it notepads on Amazon. That was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And we got that in the storage unit.
And I like the fact that you have more communication, a little more control with your customer. You're not, the difference I try to explain, they're like, what's the difference? Amazon allows you to sell to their customer. eBay is the middleman between you and your customer. That's the difference. And that's the relationship difference. So you have an opportunity, you can put coupons in boxes. You can do all kinds of things to increase your sales through eBay, which Amazon looks at and goes, they're like, no, that's allowed. That's our customer. Don't do anything. You know what I mean? Don't do anything that distracts them from Amazon. So it's definitely different.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we mentioned List Easier earlier. What are some of the features that set it apart from other listing tools that are out there?
So that's the only one I've used, but the thing that I like is its ability to list in batches. It really.
But before we answer that, what is List Easier?
It's basically AI listing software. It can take as little as 2 pictures and make an eBay listing. Currently eBay only now, but I know they have plans to go to other platforms. They also have plans to build into a cross listing as well. So it's going to be an all-in-one. Right now it's PC only, and they're working on the app as well. Right now they're working on different pricing plans. They thought they'd just be able to fix the pricing plans, but they've had to go back and restructure a lot of things. So that's coming as well, because a lot of people are saying we don't need 1,000 listings, we want less, and so that's coming for if you're familiar with it. But I'm
sitting here looking at my 1,000 listings and thinking I might have to upgrade to that 3,000 thing. We're gonna see.
I'm into 3,000. I have the 3,000 because it's just there's 4,000 CDs.
Yep. And believe it or not, even though I'm doing mostly Whatnot, and we would love to see List Easier to make Whatnot easier, I'm also doing List Easier for my eBay. And my eBay has just gone completely. Like, she'll hold onto her items, and I'll hold onto different sets of items.
So the strength is it. Over there, there's my picture is right straight behind me. I have stacks of CDs. I do them. So I store in a 24 by 6 by 6 box, whether they're DVDs or CDs. And so I either run 45 DVDs or I run 57 CDs. That's what fits in each box. So I run batches at a time. I'll take. I just do front and back pictures because, trying to get a picture of a CD is it's going to get a reflection of whatever. So, I just skip that part. And so it builds the listing. It does everything but price. So it'll build the listing. And then if you put a generic price in, I've got all those CDs. They're all going to be $8.99. I don't care what they are. $8.99. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then, after they've gone for a while, I'll reduce them or deal with that. But the initial start price is going to be this. So all I do is give it a price. I tell it where to locate the custom SKU, and it'll incrementally. So if I've got the 57, and it'll put it, say, box 1, number 1, box 1, number 2, up to 57. So you'll know in the box where it is. It's amazing. The strength of these AI listers, no matter which one you use, and this one is strong because they use 3 of the language models, not just one. Is who is doing the searching? I ask that a lot. Because Big John says, who is doing the searching? Everybody goes, the customer. The customer ain't searching. You're typing it in, but an AI-based search is searching through. And so the more they integrate AI into these searches, AI searches in a different way. And that's the problem eBay had a couple of years ago when everybody thought eBay crashed. It was because as they started working and changing their search, they had to change their search as they worked AI into it, because and now searches in a different way. It's not just searching titles anymore. It's searching the complete listing, trying to best match. And so if you've got AI that's doing the searching, who do you want building the listing? I want the AI building the listing too, because it's looking for the same thing it's searching for. And so I've sold that my media store. I just crossed $6,200 in sales in 38 days.
Wow.
I sold 600 items in 38 days. I mean, it's moving some product. And if I would have just listed them, all right, would have sold more. I've got over there. There's 2045s over there. I've got magazines and books everywhere. That's the problem I have now is I can buy the media at such a large number. It's hard. That's what I felt like this morning. That's what I was doing. I was out here in the building. I had my headset on. I was talking to Smokey Dave, and we were both listening on List Easier. He stayed up all night listening. He listed all kinds of stuff all night. But it gets very addictive to be able to sit down as fast as I can take the pictures, and then I airdrop them to the computer and match them up, and it makes the listings, and I'm done. I mean,
it's amazing. And I've heard people say that it's really only beneficial for if you specialize. I don't think that's the case. As long as you can buy in quantity, even if you're an everything seller. I mean, I've ran through a batch of plush. I've ran through several batches of jewelry. I've done the toys. I've done some magazines. And I mean, that's a lot of different categories, but at least I had 25, 30 of each of them.
Here's another thing too. Scott was mentioning that he's doing these CDs at about $8 or $9. It doesn't have to be a cheap item.
No.
Tracy did some vintage Pokemon shirts that we got at an estate sale. And what was it? Over $1,000
Yeah. It was like 15 shirts the total batch was over $1,000.
And because she's already sold 3 of them.
It's got a nice quick link to the eBay sold, so it helps you do your research there too.
Yep.
Yeah. But see, people are very misled by the fact that its strength is batch, but you can do one item batches. I've done a bunch of one item batches.
We've talked about that too.
It's because unless it's something, I listed some cameras last night that I just did like I always do, sell similar or find one and sell similar because they're so hot. They're Google Nest cameras. They're open box. One's already sold. But so it's like a VCR. I think I'm really good at VCRs because I've sold them for forever. But it picks up all the nuances based on the model number and stuff that I don't include. So it puts more item specifics in. And then everybody goes, well, we don't like the way AI makes it a fluffy little description. Folks, you don't understand. It is weaving in keywords that it's going to pick up when it searches. And so the strength of it, so I find that even if I've only got 1 or 2 items that are in the same category, unless it's something that I have so much experience or confidence in, like a brand new item, I bought some deodorant the other day on clearance, some dry ID or whatever the heck it was. AI is not going to be that great but for especially a used item where it's difficult to get. Where do you get a new item? You can look at the box and read, hey, if I need to know this item specific, you can, but just think, even that you're taking time that you could have built the one item, told it to build the one item as fast as you can take the pictures and tell it create batch and pick a couple things. It'll make a listing, and you're still looking, trying to figure out how many volts it is and what format that it reads in, when the AI will know all that immediately.
Yeah. Well, you actually just answered 4 of our questions that we had down here. So
that's amazing.
Which is great.
I am a super guest.
Yes, you are. Can List Easier help track performance metrics like sales through rate, pricing history, or platform IRO, or to prepare scaling for live selling, do you think?
I think they have plans to integrate or whatnot. They just haven't really discussed it yet. But it's strictly listing. It's not the financial end of it. It's just strictly listing. So, but because you're building in through the platform, through eBay, it means all the eBay reports are more accurate. You know what I mean? It's why, even though I love Pirate Ship, it's why I went back to shipping on eBay, because the rates being the same. I want to list a report that shows me what the net is without having to make an extra line. I want to be able to import a report that shows me, the amount of money I spent from eBay side, including the shipping on that item. I want to know what the net is versus, so all I got to do is subtract out my cost. So that's, so it makes the eBay reports better for you.
Oh, because sure. I love that.
But it does nothing financial other than you can see the dollar amount of the value of your listings. That's about it.
Does List Easier offer any training or additional tools to help new sellers with optimizing their listings and photos for better visibility?
So they are building List Easier University, and I think everybody calls there something. They've got professional people making professional videos to teach you how
Oh,
to use.
nice.
I think there's 3 or 4 out now, but they're planning on having a whole suite of videos, so that because they're not assuming that you've been doing this as long as an eBayer as me. They want it to be anybody to be able to use, and so they're. And it also helps with their customer service. You don't have a lot of simple questions if you can just watch a 5-minute video that's been made by somebody who makes videos way better than me.
Well, I will say that it was very easy
my
for me
God,
to
Jesse, you're driving us
get
crazy.
in there and get started. I had no problem with it, and he fights change, new things, but even him,
Okay,
it
Scott
just took
knows.
a little bit.
Scott knows I have fought AI from the beginning because
Yes.
I would come into his shows and he would start talking about AI, and I'm like, I hate AI. I hate AI. I hate it. 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 And now it's like, oh my God, I can't. I literally, like, as I said, 3 minutes before the show, I'm in there listing stuff. And I did, the thing that I did was VHS tapes. Now, everybody knows VHS tapes. First off, they're hard sells everywhere. And as a matter of fact, the place that we do a lot of our consignment sales at, they won't even take VHS tapes. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do VHS tape. I'm going to do a blanket price of $9. I'm doing these for $9.
I've got a box here. I've sold 4 or 5. I mean, that I would never.
So have I. And I'm like, that is amazing. I absolutely.
And their titles, I never thought would have sold either. They were
it puts the titles, but it also puts runtime and ratings and all the stuff that we just assume people know. But that it gives it. See, people don't understand. Not only is it building an optimized listing for itself to search, but it's also filling in every item specifically because you can. It'll do the required, and then you can check as many of the other ones as you want. And I generally check about 80% of them. But that puts you way ahead of everybody else in search because you have some. Remember, as you're building a list and you hit this, the little circle goes, and you'll be amazed if you go back and open some of your listings. They're closed circles. You know what I mean? Every dang listing, every listing on that one media store of mine is a closed circle because it is filled out everything. These listings are. These are what eBay wants to put up. I'm only promoting at 3% on that channel, which on my other store I'm like 7, 8, 9. I'll mess around depending on the category. On that one, it's max of 3, and I'm having this kind of success.
Now, I do have a question that I don't have down on here, but I'm going to ask this one anyway, because it's something to me that I was talking to Corey over at Grams and Pops Vintage about this. Do you think the more people that use List Easier for eBay listings, you'll start to see a lot of the similar type items to come down? And then do you think it'll start dropping the price on like the price will start falling?
Okay, so
many people are having the same items.
So I've got a couple of viewpoints. That was my first initial thought was, man, everybody's going to do this. But I think you've got 2 to 5 years runtime before we think that the YouTube are all the eBay sellers, and it's a fraction. It is such a small fraction.
Yes.
So Josh and his team, Super Dave and Travis and those guys, all their biggest thing is to get the word out past the YouTube sphere, because how do you get it to everyday eBayers? And so until they break that hurdle and get advanced upon where they are, you got 2 to 5 years to get a head start. And then the other thing too is my goal is this time next year to have a 20, 30,000 media store that sells, $400, $500, $600 a day, very similar to James Helfer's Day.
Yeah.
And how many people want to do that? How many people are gonna sit here and list that many DVDs and CDs? I don't know that there's that many people out there that are willing to do that.
Right.
Because it's not hands off. There's still work involved. And then you've also
definitely.
You still got to have the systems in place, because here's one of the funny things that Josh has found, because he's customer service right now. So one of the bigger complaints is people tell him, I don't know if I can use this because I don't want to grow any bigger. I don't want to work that. I don't want to ship that much more. And, the stuff
that's only online.
That was Tracy in one of our shows. At the end of one of our shows, she literally looked at me and she goes, "We're getting too big. I don't want to do this anymore." I'm like, no. No, we need to get bigger so that we can not do it as much and make as much money as we were making before. And
so you can't assume that everybody wants to grow bigger, and do it different. And you're not alone with AI fatigue and AI don't care, that kind of thoughts about AI. You're not, as resellers, most of the time we're in a room, we're oddballs. But with that one, you're not. There are a huge segment of especially people your age.
Oh my God, he's 4 years younger than me, guys. 4 years.
But you know what I mean? People who are us and the older, because you're on the edge of Boomer, Gen X. The more you go higher, they don't want to have anything to do with it. And so if you look at eBay skews older. So
yes.
how much of the older eBay sellers are going to touch it? So I think you've got a while. I don't live my life thinking, what if everybody does this, and then you miss an opportunity. I'm going to go full blast, and if I need to pivot in 4 or 5 years, I pivot. It doesn't matter.
I love that.
I've resold for how many years now? 28 years now. Most of it full time, and I have changed my business plan so many times through the years. This is just a new change. Who knows what next will be?
And for me, as I've said multiple times, because of that Nashville meetup 2 years ago, I completely have changed it, and we have literally changed it within the 2 years, a lot, and we're doing it again now.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where, as for me, where they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I can tell you right now, before that Nashville meetup, I lived that motto, man. I could have put a tattoo on that all over my body because I lived that motto. Now it is the exact opposite. I'm like a sponge, and I want to learn from everybody, which is one of the main reasons why I love this podcast that we do so much, because I get moderate amount of views. We are really, really close to the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I'm not doing it for the monetary value. I'm doing it more or less of that's just a great status goal for us to say, oh yeah, we finally hit this 1,000 things. But for me, I get to interview all of these awesome people like Scott and learn from that. I pop in his shows and I ask questions, and people have always asked me, they said, well, how did you start to get known? I said, you have to get out of your box.
Yep.
And you have to get off of your island, and you have to put yourself out there. For some of us, it's easier. For me, it's a lot easier because I was a teacher. I was a teacher for 18 years. So I was in front of, people for a long time. So I got used to doing that. So it was something that just came naturally to me.
Yeah. I played district manager too in the restaurants too. So I've been, even though I didn't like it, I learned to be in front of people as well. So that probably helps me out a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
To kind of change the subject, we're going to talk a little bit about YouTube. What was your aha moment when you realized that YouTube could become such a big part of your reselling journey and not just a hobby?
When I looked around and realized, I think Joni made a comment that you don't talk to anybody that you didn't meet on YouTube. And I'm like, and you start thinking about it, and the power of social media, good and bad, but it and the relationships. And then I talk about the Monopoly video. That was a huge blessing, because that video happened 6 weeks after she started chemo for breast cancer, and so that video it paid a lot of money. When I'm talking a lot of money, that video paid $40,000. One video was $40,000.
That's awesome.
So I didn't work much at all during that time because I took her to every appointment, and cancer had already killed my dad, and to come from my wife, so I was going to help her do everything she could to fight for it. And so I'm very thankful. YouTube will always be special to me because it really, at the time, it was a blessing to me at a time when when I needed to do something else. So it allowed that. So
That is amazing.
but it when you realize that as an introvert and you're in a job that could be pigeonholed, and you look around and I've got local friends that I would never met because of YouTube, and that's amazing that to have these folks that are just quality individuals. It's been very enriching for my life that wouldn't be there without YouTube.
We're gonna show up in Huntsville one day and crash your wing night and buy you a beer, because I feel like we owe you at least that at this point.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean,
we have a good time. That's if you don't have a meetup in your area, make one. Be the one. Start asking around. Find people in your area. I mean, some people live in the middle of nowhere. I get it. Some people live in the middle of nowhere, but there'll be 6 or 8 of us every Tuesday night. We didn't have it last night because there was a lot of issues, but 3 to 4. That's very unusual. We've only not had it like 5 or 6 nights in the last 3 or 4 years.
Wow. It's awesome. Well, I can tell you that a lot of people ask us, how we got our success on YouTube. And obviously we always mention Paul the Philly Flipper because he gave us a huge push. And we mentioned Ray because he had this awesome meetup. No, it was Scott.
It really was. Yeah.
Because Scott had her introduce her to it. And we're sitting at Discount Tire getting new tires for my truck. And I'm literally angry as hell about that because tire prices being what they are. And she says, "Hey, do you want to go to a meetup?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what a meetup is." And she said, "I found this one on and it was on Facebook, wasn't it? That you said you found it?"
Well, no, I heard it in his show.
You heard it in his show.
I went to
so go and watch his shows, and there'll be a link down there. I'm gonna have links down there.
I was being Ray's pimp. That's what I was being. I was pimping out Ray.
Yeah, and so that's really how a lot of that started. What's a behind the scenes secret about YouTube success that most creators have completely wrong? And I'm going to be taking notes on this one.
Most people think it's about the volume of. They either think it's about the quality of the equipment or the volume of videos and stuff you put out. And the secret to YouTube is people watch because they like your personality. They and generally hang around and are interested in you, the creator. And so the more you can be yourself and just that you're normal. Most people are very genuine, kind, likable, all the normal thing. And so that's what people are attracted to. Most people think they've got to have, I've got to have the latest GoPro and this. If you look at all these big creators and they've got these monster cameras and all this stuff, man, your phone will do all that. Don't hold yourself back. It's you have worth. Other people, the other thing that holds them back is they want to, and it's about anything doing something new, is they don't want to do something new until they think they're an expert at it. And
yes,
you can learn. So new creators, new resellers, I like when new resellers are around because they are not jaded. They are willing to see things a different way, to go, well, why aren't we doing it this way? And a lot of times if I get that question, I'll be sitting here thinking, because I'm setting my ways like Brian. Not really. I'm like, because I've always done it this way and it works, but it's amazing how many times you go, well, because I didn't see it, dadgummit. You have to admit to yourself that because you've gotten such blinders because I do it this way. So there's value in every level, but it's the secret to YouTube success. What is Harry Tornado? What's the secret? Is it that they find anything different than anything else?
Mm-mm.
Right.
People stay for that dynamic. They like that a young couple. They're very wholesome. They're friendly. They show what they do. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into the success of that channel. And you look around some of the other YouTube channels and go, I see the same thing in every one of them. It's they're genuine people, and they treat you like a friend.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I've said that about live reselling. When people ask me,
Same thing.
what's one of the best bit of advices, and I
Mhm.
said you need to be genuine and you need to be yourself, and
Mhm.
that's why we have done some of our podcasts have been basically about is live reselling for everybody because of the fact that you do have to be able to be comfortable in front of a camera. You have to be comfortable with a chat and be engaging with a chat. And you also have to have a personality that's like that. And some people just do not have that. They don't, they're
Right.
not comfortable in front of that. And if you're not, then it's not for
I would
you.
never do whatnot by myself.
No.
No interest, no enjoyment of it. It would never happen.
And I fought doing YouTube. We've actually been doing YouTube for a long time. How long have we been doing YouTube?
I just got my 9-year notification saying we've had our
but we've
channel for
never
9
put
years.
a great effort into it because of the fact that I was scared to do a lot of it. I didn't want to open up and let people see some of the mistakes that we make. And now it's like, screw it, I don't care. I mean, this is the reality. The reality of reselling is that you're not going to hit a home run with every single swing that you do. That's the same thing with baseball. You fail more often than you succeed. It's how many
Right.
times you go up to bat.
I mean, and the honest truth is, my 5 closest friends are people I've met on YouTube that I talk to every other day during the week, and I get more. I try to overgive because I get back in return way more. People don't understand that. You know, Oh my God, if you're teaching somebody how to do this, I'm telling you, folks, the more. It's always been that way. Especially if you're a religious type person, it's in the Bible too. You can't outgive the Lord. You can't outgive. You can't, because it will be returned to you, and it's just the nature of how kind people are, and these things, and it works in YouTube the same way, and live reselling the same way. It's, I mean, but there's some people that I go on their channel and they're trying to force it and carry on, and I'm their instant turn off. But I watch people like Paul, Philly Flipper, people with big personalities who are I carry on with him all the time. Paul's a good guy, and I've met him several times. Just good people, and it comes across the screen, and so it's just about being. To me, it's about being real. Anybody can learn the skills of finding stuff. Anybody can learn how to read the chat and that kind of stuff. But it's
being genuine is huge, and I'm guessing that would be a big part of the YouTube community also, which was what you mentioned, and that's why I came up with that.
I'm going to mention one thing he said. He said some of his closest friends are resellers. Well, we're planning to meet up with our close local friends next Saturday, and I was sitting here thinking, I was like, we have not seen them since February,
right?
And how many times have we hung out with I Love Discounts since February?
I know.
And they're in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we've managed to meet them 4 times since February. Right. But our close local friends, we haven't seen since then.
And we go to Ohio all the time.
Oh, gosh.
We've done it once, but I actually said that in a live one time. I said, oh, yeah, I go to Ohio. And Ken is on that one. But we met Ken, and we were blessed that we were walking down that hallway, and we ran into him first. And he has become one of my very, very dear friends. And I tend to make friends very, very easily, but I have very close friends that I have, and he's definitely counted as one of them. And I cherish that thing. I'll let you do that one.
And our last question in this section: how has connecting with your audience through YouTube changed your life outside the platform? You've pretty much covered that, but
anything
else you want to add?
And I've gotten a lot more comfortable with meeting people in person. That's one of the bigger changes. Is I'm not nearly as much an introvert as I used to be. I used to be really bad.
He still wouldn't go around with me and go, no, we won.
Well, I need extrovert lessons from you, because
I was just Alex's feeling. I didn't want to hurt Alex's feelings, and he hosted the meetup and he lost. It's terrible.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact thing. I was like, I'm not going to win. I was going up against a girl who had the beard on her face. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to win. I'm just going to go up there and have a little bit of fun with it. And
I asked the judge, I'm like, mine was not the biggest beard and I was like, what was your main criteria? Because there was one person that was judging, and he said he had asked his wife earlier, and she had talked about, neat, presentable, normal looking. And Joni had the idea, yours is short, so it's easy to crop. You look,
yeah.
Joni's like, I'm gonna flat on your beard before. So the beard was like really under control that night. and
I absolutely love that, and I actually still have there's my crown.
Yes.
I still have my crown. I have it, and I put it up on my little Snorlax guy up here
because
they went all out on the crowns right there. It literally says Burger King right up on the front.
But that's the biggest benefit is it has forced me to be, more talkative, forced me out of the shell that I used to really stay in, that I don't as much. I can still be an introvert and hide with you at a meetup and not talk to a soul. I can go right to that, but that's the biggest benefit.
Awesome. Thank you for those great questions. We went a little bit long on those, but guys, I'm hoping that you guys got some great information on that. We're going to do our What's Up segment right here, which we're going to be talking about stuff that is generally happening in in reselling in general. And our topic for today is, guys, Q4 is here. Okay. Right. From October to December, sales are going to explode with Halloween, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the holiday rush. Top resellers, by the way, are winning this by prepping early.
Top resellers are already prepped.
Yeah, they're already done and ready to go. Organized listings, sourcing hot inventory, and optimizing every detail before the rush hits. This is our question for you, Scott. This is a good question, I think.
You wrote it.
I wrote it. I should be. Do you think that List Easier is going to change your results or change the results for fourth quarter for people?
Oh, 100%. Because I'm doing my best, because I'm trying to treat it. I'm trying to do my normal stuff through the day. I ship it when I ship everything else, but I'm trying to do normal, and then after dinner, which you've got to do some self-examination. And I realize that I eat dinner, and then I normally hang out with our lovely dachshunds in the evening, and they don't get anything done. And I'm like, if I spend a couple, 3 hours in the evening really pushing this List Easier, the shelf is right here beside me if y'all don't. So that is really where I'm adding a few hours in the day to separate this, because I'm trying very hard not to lose sight of the fact that always take care of the 80%. The 80% of your business that covers your bills, your money, is where you make most of your money. You've got to cover that part first. And so I'm being very deliberate to do that, and then add in that as I slowly let that, because I anticipate by this time next year that being a dominant force in my reselling.
Awesome.
But to build it to get there, you can't go. You still got bills. You can't, you can't pay the power bill in hopes and dreams. You still got to sell stuff.
Oh, don't most doubt. I was talking to Corey over at Grams and Pops. We chat often, and he was telling me that every morning with his coffee, he does 100 listings on using List Easier. He takes all of his pictures on a Friday, so he takes thousands and thousands of pictures, and then he'll do, like, while he's drinking his coffee, he'll just do 100 listings. So that is amazing.
Yeah. So he does the thing, reseller therapy on Tuesdays, and I've been hanging out with those guys a little bit on the Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. He was talking about that last week, and I very insightful, even for somebody like me who I consider building that part new. He's a veteran of building online businesses and business.
Oh God, yeah,
he's very, very smart.
And so when he started talking about he batches the batch. So,
what are they doing? I don't know if you could hear that, okay, but I think literally our cats are destroying everything around us right now.
He mentioned batching the batch, and that really turned a light on to how I need to really, because I'm trying to really come up with processes that are very effective, and I'm like, that's, because I asked him the same question: how are you prepared every morning with your coffee to do these listings? And he told me the same thing, man. I I've broken it down into where I do all the pictures, and then it frees me up to just sit here and do it. I can do the listings from anywhere I got a computer. So that's smart. Corey's smart dude.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. We actually met Corey at the Plains to Profit meetup. And I think I talk with Corey probably about once every week or once every 2 weeks. He's somebody that I absolutely adore talking to, but by the same time, I hate it because every time I talk to him, I got to change something. Because it gives me a freaking great idea, and I'm like, shit, now I got to do that. And so it's just one of those things. But I just love that to death. This is our shine the light.
Yeah, they always say you don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. Well, there's a flip side of that.
I didn't understand that.
Don't ask a question that you don't want to get an answer.
Yes,
not only that you don't know the answer, but because it'll, especially for somebody like that, if you don't want to be prepared to make change and really figure something out and put the work in, don't ask a question that's going to give you the answer that you know that you need.
Right, definitely. This is going to be our Shine the Light segment, and we're going to kind of go through this one kind of quick because we're going a little bit long. But this is where we talk about some online sellers that all of these are on Whatnot. And one of the most amazing thing is all of these we met at the meetup, the Whatnot meetup that was held last week in Atlanta, hosted by Joe Hollywood, who's one of the biggest sellers on Whatnot. And so we're going to be talking about them.
Our first seller is a new seller. Her name is Kayla. She does K2 Pottery Studios. I call her the Pot Lady.
Yes.
She's an Atlanta-based ceramicist and Whatnot reseller with 92 sales and 474 followers. She creates handmade pottery from her home studio and is one of the awesome sellers we met there. She also donated a pot that they were giving away at the meetup.
Yes, actually, I won. I won one of the giveaways. You didn't win her
pot.
I didn't win her pot, but I did win one of the Whatnot swag bags. They had like about 6 of them, and we ended up winning one of those, which was really kind of cool. Our growing seller is a person that's, it's funny when Scott was talking about Faith, is somebody that we met at the meetup that I would have never connected with. Never even would have thought I would have connected with before. He's got dreadlocks. He's tall. He's a lot younger than I am, and he sells nothing but fishing gear. But for some reason, I met him. We talked, and I literally we're going to have him on a podcast. He's messaged me. I think he messaged me almost every day, and I message him back and stuff. His name is Bernard, and he is the Big Fishing Family on Whatnot. He's got 1.2 thousand in sales with 1.5 thousand followers. He specializes in freshwater and saltwater fishing gear. And he was one of the most awesome people that we met at the Atlanta meetup. And he ends every one of our messages, the messages that I get back with me, with, you always get back with what you will always get back what you put in, and you're a blessing to me. And I was just, when Scott said that, I was like, I cannot believe he said that. And we're going to be talking about Bernard, who literally, that's what he echoes to me every day. And I just love that feeling when you meet somebody like that new, especially it was because literally, Scott, I would have never walked up to this guy ever, and for some reason I did. And I got a great relationship coming out of it. And he's local in Atlanta.
Yeah, I could have gone on with that. That's another great lesson with YouTube is he really quickly learned that resellers are all shapes, sizes, and models and everything. There's no right or no wrong. And then, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't take the time to investigate, get to know people, find out what they're about. And so, yeah, that's another great lesson of YouTube.
Yeah.
And the last seller that we're going to focus on this week that we also met at the Atlanta meetup was Gina. Her channel is Gina's Gifts. She's a powerhouse Whatnot seller. She's sold over 16,000 items and has 28,000 followers. She sells knives, metal signs, and accessories.
Yeah, and best thing about her is she literally had a knife at the meetup. So here we are at the meetup, and she's pulling out these knives and whipping them around like it's nobody's business. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And it's a girl. Gina, and she had a backpack, and it was a X-Men backpack, Loungefly, that Tracy and I found at what was it, GameStop?
GameStop
last year was doing, if you were a Premier member or pro member, whatever. If you bought one of their clearance items, you got 3 free. So Tracy and I would go through. We hit every one of them in the Atlanta area and stuff, and just cleaned up on these backpacks. I paid $40 for one, and I get 3 others for free. So basically, I'm getting them now for about $10. And it was absolutely great. And she had one of those. We're going to have links down below to all of these resellers. So feel free to go ahead and give them a check out, guys. You can just give them a follow. Follows are free. You can go ahead and give them a little notification if you'd like to. That's perfectly fine. You know, you don't have to go into their shows, but just seeing those bookmarks on live shows is something that helps out so much. So some of those sellers.
And if you happen to be watching it, hello, Kayla, Bernard, and Gina.
Yes, definitely. You have the next part. Oh, no, I have the next part. Yeah. Oh, I read your part.
You did.
Okay, it's time for Turn the Tables. This is where we're going to allow our guests. We've been going up back and forth. Tracy's literally marked off half of my stuff because I told you we had questions for all of them, but she marked them all off because we were running long. And we answered a lot of them anyway. We're going to allow Scott to ask us any question that he would like to ask.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank and I don't know why. It's heck, I don't know. I've been trying to think about this.
And by the way, guys, I did tell him we were going to do this.
I told me ahead of time, and I'm still. Especially, you should have told me the ones that were already asked, because I would have asked one of those.
Well, go ahead. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
What's your favorite memory in the Navy?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, one of my most favorite parts of when I was in the Navy is there's something called a khaki auction. Now, the Navy's got 2 different things. You have wear blues, or you wear khakis. Khakis are chief petty officers and officers. I was enlisted. Now, chiefs are enlisted, but they're what's known as an E7 or above. I was an E5. So I was a 2nd class petty officer. Well, you have something that was, when we ran out to sea one year, one of the years that we got deployed, we did a khaki auction where anybody could bid on any of these people, and they had to go to do what you normally did. So people could buy the captain of the ship, and they could have the captain of the ship come down and clean out the bathrooms, whatever that they wanted to do.
That's all or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it was great. But I was the one that came up with the idea. So then the next thing I know, I'm the one that's running this whole thing. So I run this khaki auction, and we do it, and it's great. And at the very end of it, the captain goes up to the microphone, and he goes, "All right, we got one other person that we're going to auction off." And it was me. And I'm like, wait, whoa, I'm not a khaki. And he did it anyway, and he bought me. So I got to be the captain for about 12 hours on the ship. Right. I was literally the captain of the ship, and I went up and I was in the pilot house, and it's all unofficial records. I can pull up the records, and it'll say USS Downs at this date at this time, HT2 Sweck took command of the ship and was the pilot house of the ship. And that is actually one of my favorite parts of my experience in the Navy. And it was all because of the captain of the ship. He was just like, he was amazing. He really was. His name was Captain John Pine. He passed away in 1995, 2 years after I had gotten out. But I love that question. Thank you, Scott.
It's amazing, that there's different kinds of leaders out there, but that, when you got a good, effective leader, it's amazing the ability to have an impact lasting on a lot of people.
Yeah, I was in the Navy for 4 years, and it was on that ship right there. I was only on that ship for 2 of my 4 years. They decommed this ship, and I went to another ship called the USS England. I never wear my England hat. I have it. It's sitting over there, but I never wear it. If anybody ever asks me about anything, I'm on the USS Downs all the way. Thank you for that. That was a great question.
So what happened to the money? Was it a charity? Did y'all donate the money?
It went to a charity event, if I'm not mistaken, for oh my gosh, I don't want to get this wrong. There's something called an ombudsman, and an ombudsman is usually the wives of the chiefs. And what they do is they pull all together, because when the sailor goes out to sea, they go out to sea. we went out I was deployed. My son was born, and 2 weeks later, I was deployed for 4 months.
Yeah, we think it's hardest on the people on the ship, but the people that are left behind suffered just as much.
He always says that.
I always say that to people. I say, listen, whenever they say thank you, they thank me for my service. I said, you need to thank. I said, I really do appreciate that, but my wife went through it just as bad as I did. Not this wife. Thank you, Tracy, for saying that. But she literally had to raise my son for 4 months without me. Right. And then, I was in during the first Persian Gulf War. And so she had to watch the TV and just wonder, is my ship there? Because we were gone. Right. I did an deployment then too. So it's just as hard on them as well. But yes, the leadership is just absolutely amazing. But the money goes to the ombudsmans, and the ombudsmans takes care of some of those families, because some of those families, the wives didn't work. So they get in the Navy, you get paid twice a month. So they couldn't really stretch it sometimes. They had a fund for them.
Very nice.
I donate. That's why I donate to Stop Soldier Suicide, because any tip that we get on Whatnot, 100% of that tip, I even pay the fees. 100% of that tip goes to Stop Soldier Suicide, because
that's incredible. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the bad part is 22 soldiers a day on average are committing suicide, and that's, to me, is a huge failure on the part of the American government, in my opinion. Well, thanks to our amazing guest, Scott, the bearded picker, the original, by the way, bearded picker.
There's a lot of bearded guys out there.
There's a lot of bearded guys out there. Our next guest, Scott has actually mentioned her a couple of times. It is Jenny from Jenny Down South.
Crossing our fingers.
Yeah, we're crossing our fingers that we can get that worked out. She's a newer seller on Whatnot, but I'm telling you right now, dude, she is taking Whatnot by storm. She's got, in the short time that she's been on, she has gotten over 10,000 followers. Her sales numbers are incredible, and her rooms are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And she's only doing most shows once a week.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I know, just once a week. Where most people like me, everybody says you're on all the time, and I said, yeah, I know, but I'm going to start settling that down a little bit.
Yeah, she's at 12,900 followers, 5,300 items sold. 5,300 items sold. She started the last week of March.
Wow. Thanks for making me feel even less like I did before, Scott. I don't think we're at 12,000.
We're right there.
We're right there for that, but we've had a lot. But
we've been friends for years. And I think in 16, when I was doing YouTube and carrying on, I get a message from somebody saying, "I know where you get all your stuff." I'm like, "That's weird," because I never mentioned the word Rite Aid, and she's like, because I buy a lot of the same stuff, and so we started talking back and forth in messages, and then this is somebody I talked to. It's odd that the day goes by that I've already talked to her once a day, but man, she's an outstanding human being. You'll have a lot of fun with that.
I definitely agree with you. We met her also at the Northeast Tennessee meetup, and she's just a sweetheart,
Well, thank you again. We have one last question for you before we end up here, and it's the same question we give to everybody. What does the future hold for the bearded picker?
I'm as bad as you about changing models, so I've committed to this one for 6 months, but it's just, it's continuing to push through on YouTube and continuing to fight to stay, because if you don't want it bad enough, you won't make it full time, and so you've got to do everything in your power, because it's not an easy path. And so it's really about just continuing to build the life and really enjoy the good parts, the benefits. So it means doing whatever it takes, no matter what.
Well, I want to thank you for pushing the AI, the list easier, because it convinced me to try it. And I see it being a very important part of our future.
You really got me to do that. And I'm telling you, that was an accomplishment, because
that's like a Jedi mind trick.
Yes. And it was funny because she did it without telling me.
I did. I subscribed and I was like, well, I'm going to see how this goes. And then I was starting to see the results already. And I was like, well, I gotta share. And he accepted it pretty willingly.
Well, I was the one who said something to you about it. And you said, yeah, I've been doing it. And I'm like, what? You haven't even told me about any of this. And so
I'll leave you the closing thought. I'll leave you with this. So many people are saying, I'll never use 1,000 items. So they're looking at it very negative. And I sit back and I'm like, you can look at opportunity in one of two ways. Either you can dismiss it and poo-poo on it all you want to, or you can get about your life figuring out how to take advantage of it. And not everybody's gonna do like me and build a completely new store and change directions and do that. But you can always source more. There's stuff everywhere. You can, if you're great at sourcing. I mean, if you're a clothing seller, how hard is it to? Well, I'm gonna list all jeans today instead of this pile. You do laundry anyway. Just sort the pile based on items. They're the same items.
Exactly.
I mean, don't make excuses for things. And the most successful people I know are the ones that embrace change and go, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of the curve and I'm going to take advantage of it before everybody else figures it out.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure that one out. Make sure that you guys, if you've enjoyed this video, help us out because, like I said, we are so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark.
When will this be out? When will this be out?
That?
When will this be out?
It'll be out on Sunday.
Okay, cause I go live Friday night, so I'll make sure I plug it for you guys too.
I definitely appreciate that, Scott. Help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide. As always, there's a link down below for Stop Soldier Suicide and also the Naughty Cat Cafe. By the way, it is not a strip club, even though it would make a great name for one. It is not one. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. If you have a comment for Scott, I will make sure that he gets that because I got his number now. And thank you again for Scott to be here. He's already gave us the closing that we were going to do. But guys, peace out from Jack's Treasures and Scott, the Bearded Picker.
See you, everyone.